environment to benefit the achievement of your own goals in line with the environment's goals, which is this club. So let's go through those 3 skills. And I'm breaking it down to those 3 skills. First one, analytical. You've got to learn how to be analytical. Okay? And that's just sitting down and thinking about what's going on in a way that you can problem solve it, you can figure it out. Okay? This factor aligns with those conventional notions of intelligence. Okay? This is where that idea of having some level of particularly fluid intelligence, I can reason my way out of this situation. This is presented, it's a problem. What am I going to do about it? This is the best way to figure it out and go forward. Okay? So the analytical is about problem solving. But the difficulty with a lot of us is that we don't sit down and think about the situation, review it effectively, gather all the information before we start problem solving. So we're often not problem solving in the most efficient way. Okay, so for athletes, teaching them how to solve problems, how to review not only their performance but themselves is a fantastic skill to develop. Some of your athletes will be better at it than others. And from my point of view, from the research that I've done, I think it's got a lot to do with their level of fluid intelligence, which is what I'm testing for. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a sec. So there's a test that assesses a person's ability to reason. Here's information, what do you make sense out of it? What does it mean? What benefit is it? What's the answers to it? Okay, so that sort of reasoning, that sort of questioning. And some of us maybe take it for granted that it's quite a natural skill for us, but a lot of people don't have that skill well developed, and in fact they're scared of it. They're scared of sitting down to go, okay, what am I going to do about this? How can I solve this problem? I've had 3 shit games in a row. What am I going to do about it? Everyone's on my back. Everyone thinks I'm crap, obviously. No one wants to talk to me. Everyone's sort of disconnected from me. What am I going to do about it? Okay, so that's the idea of the analytical. Practical. This aligns with emotional intelligence. The idea of a practical intelligence is apply knowledge to manage yourself. Know how to manage and lead others, if that's something you can do, and manage tasks. I don't know how many times I sit down, particularly with young athletes, and the first question when I'm talking about goal setting with them, which I think is a fundamental skill that every young athlete should learn as early as possible. But the first thing I ask them, maybe they're at a high performance camp for a sport, whatever it might be, and I'm sure that happens in rugby league. I know that we have an AIS program, and it's a major component of the psychological skills program is goal setting and mental toughness. But the first thing I ask is, what do you want to get out of this camp? Write me a list of what you want to get out of this camp as an introduction to goal setting. And it's like this. I'm just here. Not good enough. Not good enough. It's a high performance camp. You're about to go to represent your country or get drafted to a club, and you don't know what you want to get out of a high performance camp. So the first skill is writing a list of what I need to do. We go back, what do I want to do this week? And I guarantee you a lot of your athletes don't do that well enough, regularly enough, consistently enough, and that's why they find it difficult to just keep on top of things. Simple skill, to-do list. I know. And that's really the issue that we've got here. The practical intelligence or the practical skills about managing tasks. And when they get to a club, they have 5 minutes free. It's not a joyride. Every day is jam-packed full of stuff. Not only training, recovery, other sessions, medical, media, whatever it might be, but it's a full-time job. And so giving them the skills to manage tasks is really important. Particularly the younger, more elite kids, they're playing for 10 clubs, then they're in a selection, state squad, then they're in this squad, then they've got school, then they've got other sports, then they're club captain, then they're this. They're just competing with too many demands. Okay, so the practical skills are about managing yourself, managing others, and managing tasks. Simple skills, but not something we all have. They're teachable skills. And to me, that represents emotional intelligence perfectly. I want to draw your attention to a study done by Perlini and Halverson in the NHL over in America, so the National Hockey League. And basically, does everyone have a copy of that sheet? Can you have a look through that? So I'll draw your attention to it in a sec. Basically what they did was they administered this questionnaire, the bar on emotional intelligence scale, to 80 current NHL players, so professional athletes, all making money from the sport. And what they did was they identified which of these factors on that list that you have in front of you predicted number of games played. Does that make sense? So the number of games they've played in professional sport, were any of these factors, or their scores on those factors, capable of predicting the number of games played? And what the results suggested was yes. So number of games played in the NHL from this study was predicted by, if you have a look at your sheet, the factor of general mood, which is optimism and happiness, down the bottom. Okay, so that was the first factor that predicted number of games played. The second factor that predicted number of games played was the intrapersonal. So all the skills, all the factors in that top bracket. We're talking about self-regard, so a person's confidence and respect for themselves. We're talking about emotional self-awareness. Do I know when I'm anxious? Do I know when I'm angry? Do I know when I'm happy? Do I know when I'm sad? Can I label those emotions and then act on them appropriately? Assertiveness. For my own best interest, can I stand up for myself when I need to? Can I go up and talk to, a coach when I feel like I'm not playing so well, or I need some help, or I need to seek some support from other resources? Can I do that? A lot of the kids can't. Find it really difficult. Also on there is independence. How independent am I? Can I iron my own shirt? Can I boil some water for a cuppa? And they're the things that I'm hearing from a lot of clubs in AFL land. When the young kids come in, they're really not very independent at all. Really not at all. Can't write a to-do list, but then can't iron a shirt, can't wash their own clothes. We really have to think about them as people, because the skills at that level are taking slowly care of themselves. Okay, so these factors that I present to you are more about their personal development, which from the study that I'm telling you about seems to suggest it predicts their ability to manage themselves in their sport at the highest level over time. So what I'm asking you to do here is to start to consider developing some of these psychological skills earlier on, or consistently, even when they get to the clubs, because that's going to help you with your investment of money, time and energy into these players. Because one, they can analyse what's going on, they can review what's going on for themselves, but also they can manage themselves on the day-to-day tasks. They can interact really effectively with others and read how other people are reacting to them and manage that situation well. And they can manage tasks. Okay, so you're employing someone with a lot of good skills when it comes to recruiting young players. But there's also probably a need to promote this at club level as well. And I know that I'm not very familiar with NRL. I'm not involved, but in AFL I am. And I know that there's still really important skills to promote at all levels. You want a group of leaders, you want people to be assertive and take control, build those skills, teach those skills. But I'm talking about giving the individual the skills, then allowing them to interact effectively in the team structure. Now the last one is the creative skills. And I know when you work with athletes day in, day out, you don't see that their skills are so creative. What they can do, even the simplest of tasks, is creative. When they go out onto the field and play competitively, that's creative. That's a set of skills that I don't have, and a set of skills that 90% of the population don't have. So we have to start to recognise the skills of athletes as creative and really quite amazing because majority of the people in the world can't do it. But athletes get to the point where, oh well, you know, that should be easy for me. Should just be able to go out there and play perfectly every game. Fact is, they're hard, the skills are hard, and not everyone can develop them. So the athletes that you're working with are very creative in their ability to pick up these skills and operationalise them in a game at the highest level, or at any level, really, at an elite level. Sorry, I speak elite, because that's what I'm involved with at all times. So basically you've got athletes coming in with one of the skills already done.